everyone, and welcome to week 4 of Therapy Thursday. Today we're going to be looking at stretches, specifically for the head and neck. In terms of stretches across this entire series, there are a few things that I need to make clear. Don't stretch your horse when it's tied up. Ideally, have somebody hold on to your horse if you're unable to do that yourself while you're working with them. It's just can be dangerous to have them tied up while you're doing this work. Don't stretch cold, so please make sure that you've spent 10 or 15 minutes warming your horse up either via walking, or ideally do this at the end of a session where they have warmed themselves up through the work that you've done with them. So for today's, I'm just going to go through a couple of things: an ear stretch, stroke mobilization, which is quite nice, and things that you would generally know as carrot stretches. So I'm sure you've either all seen carrot stretches or have tried to do them yourselves with your own horse. A couple of things: you don't have to use carrots. It can be any treat of choice, or no treat at all, depending on how your horse responds to that. But what I would say is choose a treat that you can hold safely in your hand, that you can touch to the lips of your horse. So if you're going to use carrots, then cut them lengthways so that you've got a good distance between where a horse is likely to grab the end of that treat away from your fingers. Some people use bananas. Some people have found ingenious ways of using other treats. But if you are going to use a carrot, I would suggest cutting it lengthways. You want to encourage a smooth follow to the stretch that you're asking them to do with the carrot, rather than them just snatching at the treat. You will see with Mojo that he's not very good at this. He's quite treat led, so we don't tend to always use carrots in this because he gets a little overexcited, and I'll talk about that. But what you're looking for is a nice smooth following down the treat or following up the treat. And then when you've got the stretch that you want and you've held it for a couple of seconds, then you can give them the treat. The other thing to note as well is if you're using something like a carrot stick, or try and keep the treat central to their lips, the center of their mouth against their lips. If you put it to one side of the mouth, they're more likely to try and just twist their mouth round and twist their head round to try and get to that treat. So what you're trying to encourage them to do is almost kind of keep that head in line, unless you're looking for specific stretch at the pole, in order to make sure that you get the best out of that stretch that you're trying to do. So try and keep the treat to the lips, to avoid seeing them twist to try and grab it. Okay, so here we've got Mojo. He is quite used to me handling his ears. If you've got a horse that isn't used to that, maybe only do this, just one aspect of this, or just try it very, very gently, very, very lightly. So what I'm doing is I'm just loosely cupping my hand at the base of the ear and pulling it away to the side. I'm then using that same lightly cupped hand and rotating the ear in one direction and then in the other direction. Apologies that we go slightly off screen for this. I'm then taking my hand to the back of the ear and sort of folding it down forwards. And then I'm also doing similar, taking my flat of my hand to the front of the ear and folding the ear down backwards. This is why I tend to call this more of a mobilization than a stretch. So moving on to the carrot stretches, this is a lateral flexion of the neck. You can see I'm stood at the junction of his neck and shoulder, which only allows him to really bend and flex through his neck. I'm moving position here to being pretty much behind his shoulder. And then he can actually move much further round, and that engages some of the chest muscles in that stretch. You can also see that I'm encouraging him to bring his head down here as well. This will also lift the back and stretch through the opposite shoulder. And the last part of this stretch is to ask him to bring his head round so it's almost 90 degrees to his shoulder, so he's not bending all the way round to try and touch his hind. So I've included this as quite a good example of what not to do. I have a carrot this time, and Mo is very interested in that and is almost turning himself inside out to get to that carrot and loses the whole stretch. So here we are stretching upwards. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let him see what we're trying to do. And you can see he's pulling forward. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for up. So I'm trying to get the carrot to touch his nose, touch his lips, and draw him up, 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 up. There we go. That's what I'm after. I've got to stretch there for a while. So then he gets the carrot. It can be beneficial to stand on a box to do this if you're a little short like I am. But as you can see here, we just need to keep that carrot to the nose, up, up, and then you can have it. So here we're looking at neck extension. This is a great one to do over a stable door if it's low enough, or over a rope across the stable. What you're looking to do is stretch the neck muscles by telescoping the neck down and in front of you. This stimulates the core muscles as the horse leans in and reaches forwards. So carrot low to the side is a great one to flex the base of the neck, but actually it's more of a core stability and overall back stretch. It's kind of the equivalent to a human sideways sit-up. So what you're looking to try and do is bring them down to the side as low as you can. Mo here is very excited by carrots, so he's trying to show me every trick that he's got in the book. But what I'm trying to do here is bring the carrot through his front legs and get him to bring his nose down between. We sort of get there. You can understand what we're trying to do, but really we do need to have this as a stretch that is held. I hope that's been helpful. You can hopefully see why it's sometimes easier to have assistance when you're doing this, especially that last stretch if you're trying to bring the nose down between the legs. It's actually a good idea to have two carrots, one out front that's in front of their nose that you then bring down to their knees, and then switch it for the carrot that you're bringing from between their knees from behind to then really encourage them to take that stretch even deeper. But it does take practice, and your horses might not always get it first time, but it's really beneficial. Any questions, please let me know. And I will see you in the next episode where we'll be looking at massage techniques around the withers, shoulders and chest.